Hey guys, it is Toxic Kid, and I wanted to start a new thing on my channel. You know how I've said I have a very big interest in serial killers and their behavioral patterns and how they work and why they do what they do? Well, I'm going to I have a little book here, and it has all of my research and things that I have been doing on serial killers. And I'm going to start sharing my research with you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. If not, sorry about that. Maybe we just don't share the same interests. But yeah. The first one I want to go with would be Richard Ramirez. His name is Ricardo Levaya Munoz Ramirez, but he's more commonly known as Richard, Ricky, the Night Stalker, the Valley Intruders. He was active in the 1980s, mostly 1985. But a few things about him just to get started. He had 14 victims, but he was only charged with 13 of them. He was 6'1". He was born February 29th, 1960 to June 7th, 2013. So he just died recently. He died in prison due to B-cell lymphoma, so that's just a type of cancer. He was charged on 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary. His killing span was from April 10th, 1984 to August 24th, 1985. He was He was apprehended on August 31st, 1985. He was a Satanist, and his main thing that he would say when he would kill his victims would be swear on Satan, just on separate accounts and different reasons. He used many different weapons for say. One weird thing about it is he got married to Doreen Roy, I think that's how you pronounce it, on October 3rd, 1996. And she married him while he was in prison, so that's a little creepy. But anyways, let's get to his victims and everything. His first victim was 9-year-old Mei Lung. He wasn't charged with this because they couldn't directly say he was part of it. That happened on April 10th, 1984. It happened in the San Francisco Bay Area. And then about a little over a year later, on June 28th, 1984, he went to Glassell Park and killed Jenny Vinco, who was a 79-year-old, and he stabbed her multiple times. Poor old lady. And then March 17th, 1985, he killed 3 people. First, he killed 2 people and attempted on another. So he attempted to kill Maria Hernandez, who's 22 years old. He shot her, but she survived the gunshot wound, pretending she was dead. And then her roommate, Dale Okazaki, I think that's how you pronounce it. She was 34, and she heard the gunshot, so she hid behind the counter, and then she stuck her head up, and Ricky Ramirez was right there, and he shot her with a .22 caliber handgun. Then later that night, I think it was about an hour later, he killed Cy Line, or Veronica. She was a 30-year-old from Monterey Park, and he killed her with the .22 caliber. And then on March 27th, he went to a home he had previously burglarized. It was the home of Vincent and Maxine Zazzara, and he killed the 64-year-old Vincent Zazzara with a .22 caliber, and then he not only killed Maxine, who was 44, but he also stabbed her multiple times, mutilated her, and finally killed her with the .22 caliber, and that was in Whittier, California. And then he didn't kill anyone during the month of April, but when May came around, on May 14th, he killed 66-year-old Bill Doy with a .22 semi-automatic pistol, and then he raped 56-year-old Lillian Doy, who was Bill's wife, in Monterey Park. Then on May 29th, 1985, I believe this was his most famous murder, I would say, because it was the first one I heard of. He went into the home of Mabel Bell and Florence Lang, who were sisters. Mabel was Mia. She was 83, and Florence Nettie was 81. He electrically shocked Mia Bell, and then he raped Florence, and then drew a pentagram on her thigh in lipstick, as well as 2 of the bedroom walls. And this was the first thing where the police had an idea of that Richard Ramirez was not a serial killer, they knew that already, that he was a Satanist. And then on May 30th, he went into Carol Kyle's house and he raped her. She was 42, and then he tied up her 11-year-old son, and yeah, they both lived, and that was in Burbank. And then he killed again in July 2nd, 1985, a 75-year-old woman from Arcadia named Mary Louise Cannon. He hit her repeatedly with a lamp, and then stabbed her to death. Yeah, he's a very messed up person. Well, was, because he's dead now, but yeah. And then 3 days later, in Sierra Madre, he attempted to kill 16-year-old Whitney Bennett with a tire iron and a telephone cord, and then as he was strangling her with the telephone cord, sparks were flying, so he let go and she began breathing again, and he thought it was a sign from Jesus trying to save her, so he fled the scene. He fled the scene, and she survived and had to get 467 stitches to stitch up the tire iron, what had happened to her with the tire iron. And then Rilla and Maxine Meeting, who were 66 and 68, were both shot with a .22 caliber handgun and then mutilated with a machete, and that was in Glendale. And that happened on July 20th, 1985. Oh, oops, my dates got mixed up. And then before that, on July 7th, 1985, Joyce Lucille Nelson, who was 61, was beat to death. And then another woman I think that was in Monterey Park. Yes, it was. Sophie Dickman, who was 63, was raped, and this was the first of his victims that survived, that he made them swear to Satan that they were not lying to him about anything. And then on July 21st, 1985, the Cathorna family, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he killed the father of the family and raped the mother while he tied up their son and then forced him to swear to Satan that he was not hiding anything from Richard, and that happened in Sun Valley. And then on August 6th, he attempted to kill Chris and Virginia Peterson in Northridge, and 2 days later, he went into the home of Ellis Aboa and Sakina Aboa, and he killed Elias. I think it was Elias Ellis, I don't know, but he killed him with a .25 caliber handgun, and then he raped Sakina, as well as made her swear on Satan that she would not scream while he was raping her. And then on August 18th, he went into the home of Peter and Barbara Ham in the San Francisco Bay Area and killed both of them with a .25 caliber handgun, but after raping Barbara. And then he made a pentagram on the bedroom wall in lipstick, and he also wrote the quote, "Jack the Knife," on the wall. And then the murders were linked due to shoe prints found in the Ham's home versus shoe prints that were found in Jenny Vinca's home, as well as the rest of the victims. And the murders were linked, and the police were devastated that it was released, that they knew the shoe prints were leaked, because Richard Ramirez later dumped his 11.5 shoes off the Golden Gate Bridge. And then on August 24th, 1985, Bill Carnes, who was 30, was shot 3 times with a .25 caliber handgun, and then his fiancée Inez Erickson, 29. He raped her, he beat her, and while he was raping her, he said, "Swear to Satan she would not scream." And then the most memorable thing about this was his last murder, and he told him, not murder because Bill survived, but he told her to tell them as in the police that the Night Stalker was here. And then on August 28th, he finally got a face, and they identified the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez. Then they made an announcement saying, "We know who you are, and soon everyone else will. There will be no place you can hide." And then he left to visit his brother in Arizona, and then came back to the LA area, and old ladies who were chilling out outside recognized him, and then he was chased down by just normal people, and he was apprehended by them, beaten. He was beaten down, and they were holding him down until the police had got there. And then he was waited in jail until July 22nd, 1988, when his trial finally took place. And the first thing he said, instead of, do you know how they have to swear on the Bible and put their hand on there? He raised his left hand, which he had a pentagram drawn on it, and he screamed, "Hail Satan." And then it was also the most expensive trial in California history, being $1.8 million, until it was surpassed in 1996 by O.J. Simpson. He was sentenced to 13 death sentences, one for each victim, for each of his victims. And yeah, so there is the demented life of Richard Ramirez, aka the Night Stalker. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. It took a lot of research for me to do, and everything, but yeah, I love you guys. Back on. Don't forget to like and subscribe.